Artificial intelligence is infiltrating just about every area of our lives, including the legal world. Well, here to share how this could both assist and detract from the integrity within law practices is Adam Greene, attorney at law at the Steinberg Law Firm. It's good to have you back.
Thank you for having me back, Layla.
We've been talking about AI a lot. It just seems like a very scary place now where we're living, in that you don't know what information we're getting. And now we're hearing that it's being used in a legal practice. So tell us more about this.
So I've seen it pop up a couple of different times in our arena. Our legal software is pushing on us this new software that generates demand letters, motions, arguments. And most recently, there was actually a lawyer in New York who used ChatGPT to generate a motion that he filed with the court. And in that motion, the ChatGPT created quotations, case citations, and he filed it. And before he filed it, he asked it if all of these cases were real. And apparently it responded that they were all reputable cases that could be found in legal databases. Well, when the judge went to look them up, they didn't exist. So the court reprimanded him, and he found himself in some hot water. And you can see where artificial intelligence, can have its drawbacks in
Couldn't
the
that
workplace.
just have someone disbarred?
I don't know that it would go that far, but if he does it repeatedly, I think it probably could. There's also ethical considerations there too, because you're passing off the work as your own.
Absolutely.
Even though you did not write that motion or that memo.
Well, we were talking just before we got started here that this is a new form of plagiarism, basically.
Yes.
So a lot of times, whether it's a lawyer presenting a case or it's a student submitting an essay or a thesis or something, if you use these chat GPTs or whatever other AI software is out there, you're essentially allowing the machine to do the work and passing it off as your own.
That's right. And it's going to be very difficult to differentiate what was human created versus what was computer generated. And as that becomes more prolific and commonplace in our society, it's just going to be more and more confusing to parse out what's genuine work product and what's generated by AI.
This is really infuriating. What kind of guardrails are in place for you to prevent this from further infiltrating your world, the legal world?
So right now, I do not use AI or ChatGPT to generate anything. I use my brain.
Old thing called the brain.
Right. And I don't think there's any real substitute for human analysis, especially in the litigation world.
Yeah.
ChatGPT can create documents and memos, but it can't go to court and present those arguments to a judge, at least not yet. We don't have the physical embodiment of ChatGPT or AI. It's not iRobot with Will Smith yet, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this advances in not only the legal world, but all workplaces. I
mean, well, it's true. You say all workplaces. I mean, otherwise we're just a bunch of meat puppets that are allowing some machine to do the work and falsely. So I would just fear, though, as we're getting the new crop of students and lawyers coming into law, that they could somehow be convinced that this is the new, better way to go. So judges, courts, partners within a law firm, are they really putting their foot down on this?
So, to a certain extent, yes, and I think it's not all negative. If you wanted to use ChatGPT or artificial intelligence to create a template, and then you go back and tweak it considerably to make it your own, I think it could create more efficiency, but the drawback comes when you pass it off, like you said, as your own. It's the new form of plagiarism, and you don't do any work yourself. Because why is a client going to hire you if they could have input that same information into a ChatGPT, and the output would have been the same as the lawyer did it? So why are they hiring you and paying you if you're not actually going to do the work?
Well, yeah, exactly, and it's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
It's not cheap. But can you think of some positive ways in which it can be used? I mean, you mentioned letters and things like that, but I mean, how difficult is that? I'm sure you can do that in your sleep.
Right.
A demand letter.
Right.
I mean, those.
They're very routine for the most part. Yes, and it can streamline a practice. So in that regard, I mean, it could benefit the client by cutting down on cost and time it takes to create a certain work product.
Okay. Any security or privacy issues as it relates to AI?
Absolutely. I think that's going to be a growing concern. And I know last year 17 states passed legislation concerning AI. They're all at various stages. South Carolina, I think, is working on one now. But whatever you input, obviously has to be used by this product to create the output. And once this technology advances further, who's to say that that doesn't get disseminated somehow? Trade secrets, work product, all that kind of stuff.
Fascinating stuff. Well, I think we've just hit the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to this conversation, but Adam, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Really great stuff. Don't be a meat puppet, everyone. We'll be right back.